Hi, my name is Marcia Edwards and I'm from Breakfast Foods of Canada. Thanks to Vitamix, we were able to supply your school with a Vitamix blender so you can start giving the children some healthy options to start their day. Now, I have my good friend Anne from Vitamix, and she's going to show us some wonderful recipes.
Hi, my name is Anne Thacker, and I have been with Vitamix for over 6 years. And in that time, I've had the unique opportunity to not only learn about this machine, but I've been able to develop recipes and really enjoy all of the versatility this machine has to offer. And I know that as soon as you're finished watching this video, you are going to love this machine and have so many great ideas to feed your children with. Okay, first we're going to get started by going over some operating tips and some safety tips for your Vitamix. First, we have your base. The base has an on-off switch here on the left and a high variable switch on the right, as well as a variable dial that goes from variable 1 to 10. Now the variable dial is what you would use, the variable speed dial is what you'd use for things like smooth salsas or things that you want to have texture with. The high speed setting is the highest speed that the blender operates at, and it's great for smoothies, thick mixtures like dips, or if you have something that's processing a lot of frozen fruit into a puree or something, you want to use your high speed setting. Now there is a proper way to turn the machine on. I'm going to demonstrate that for you. You want to make sure the variable speed dial is selected. You make sure your variable speed dial is at 1. Turn the machine on, increase to 10 relatively slowly. Walk it back down to 1 and turn the machine off. When you're doing a high speed blend, you want to do the same thing, walk it to 10, and then you're going to select high. Now that high position is what you want to use for things like smoothies, dips, anything that's really thick or you want a very smooth texture with. Okay, so I want to show you also something else about this base. You have a cord wrap, and it conveniently hides your cord for easy storage. So you can wrap the entire thing underneath. When you get your blender out of the box, it'll be completely hidden underneath here. And it does extend to 6 feet, so there's plenty of room to plug into wherever you're going to be using your blender. Here we have your container, and your container is a solid one-piece construction. The blades are very sharp, so you want to be careful when you're trying to wash in there. They do not come out, so you don't need to take them out for washing. The container is BPA-free plastic, so it's very safe. And your lid is a kind of unique. When you put the lid on, it has these 2 little lips here. You want to make sure that you hear a click on both sides. I don't know if you could hear that, but it clicked on both sides. And you want to make sure that this is entirely secure, because when you're blending anything, if you inadvertently hit the high speed, or you've got a lot of fluid in there and you turn the machine on suddenly, if your lid's not secure, this thing could blow off. You could paint your ceiling, paint yourself. You don't want to do that. So make sure it's very important that your lid is secure. It comes with a lid plug. And this lid plug is also a 2-ounce measure. And all you do is you unplug it, unlock it, and it pulls right out. Now some of the newer lids, they're brand new, of course, so they're going to stick a little bit. So with time and with using them, it's going to be a lot easier to remove. One unique feature of the Vitamix is this tamper. The tamper is absolutely necessary to process thick mixtures, and as you can see, with the lid properly in place, the tamper does not hit the blades. It does not matter how much you jam that in there to get the ingredients processing, it will never, ever, ever touch the blades. Now, there are a few people out there who become quite familiar with their Vitamix, and I am guilty of this. I did this probably my 2nd year working for the company, I'll admit. It was processing, and there was something stuck kind of on the side. I just wanted to use my tamper to kind of put it back into circulation here. And it sucked my tamper right into the blades. Now the blades are rotating at 240 miles an hour, and it creates a very strong suction. So if you try and do that, it's going to draw the tamper into the blades, and you'll eat about 2 inches off this tamper and ruin everything that you've tried to make. So just be very diligent about operating this with the lid in place. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is when you use your tamper, again, we talked about you want to use the tamper for thick mixtures like dips and really thick smoothies. If you've got a full container of ingredient and you're starting to use the tamper, first off, this base, or the container rotates on the base. They call it, it's floating, and that's actually by design. That's a good thing. So if you're trying to tamper and you're not careful, this could easily fall or tip over. So what you want to do is when you're using the tamper, you either want to secure it. I'm right-handed, so I'm using my right hand for the tamper, and I'm holding the base really steady, and it helps keep it in place. Or if you're left-handed, you can hold the handle and use it. But you always want to make sure you're securing it somehow because it's very easy to tip over. If in fact it does tip over, all you have to do is just shut the machine off and start over. Now, one thing I wanted to tell you too is that there is an automatic shut-off protection. And basically what that means is if you're blending something very thick, very heavy, maybe the room that you're blending in is very hot, the motor protects itself by shutting off. So once it gets to a certain temperature, it'll just completely shut out. You will have no power, nothing. And that's actually preventing it from breaking. So it's a wonderful safety mechanism. How you get your machine up and running again is to take the container off the base, make sure your power is down, is off, unplug the unit, and you can place the base either in a cool room near a window or even in a cooler for about 20 minutes. 20 to 45 minutes, it'll come back and be fully functioning. I'm going to go ahead and start with probably the most popular thing to make in the Vitamix, and that is a smoothie. Now, smoothies are so much fun because literally the sky's the limit with regard to what you want to create. You can use all kinds of different flavored fruits and vegetables, as you see here. I'm going to go ahead and make a green smoothie, and it's green by design. I like that green color. And as you can see, there's a lot of green things. We have some fresh spinach, some cucumber, some zucchini, grapes, a little bit of carrot, a little bit of red apple, some banana, pineapple, and ice. And this is not a recipe. This is just something that I bought a bunch of ingredients, and I'm going to just throw it in there, and we're going to go. And that's exactly how I want you to think about the machine, because it's fun. It's not structured. It's just have fun with whatever you have on hand and whatever you think the kids are going to like. So the way to load the container is extremely important when making smoothies. First, you want your liquids. So I'm a little bit backwards, but I'm going to put a little bit of water in here. And that's just to make sure that the consistency of the blend is nice. And first you start with your juicy ingredient. So here I have some grapes that of course are naturally juicy and very sweet. It's always a good base to use for a smoothie. Some fresh pineapple, nice big chunk there. We're going to put some banana in there. Bananas are nice for texture, it makes it real creamy, plus it's a nice sweet fruit. And then the next set of things you put in there are the harder vegetables or fruits. So put some zucchini, put some cucumber, which is real nice, gives a nice flavor, some carrots, and we're going to also now put our leafy vegetable in. And this is spinach, but you can go ahead and use kale, you can use Swiss chard, you can use romaine, really any leafy green that you like. And this is about, I don't know, 4 cups or so. And as you can see, I'm packing it all the way to the top. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot my apple. We're going to put this apple on top, just a little quarter of an apple. And finally some ice. And I prefer to use frozen fruit. In this particular smoothie, to maintain the green color, you'd have to use frozen pineapple, frozen peaches, or frozen mango. And I prefer frozen pineapple because it's got that real sweet taste, but instead we use the fresh pineapple today. So you can put ice instead. But the frozen fruit is nice because you can get a real intense fruit flavor without diluting it. Sometimes too much water or too much ice will dilute the flavor. Okay, now this may or may not need our tamper, but you always want to keep it on hand and close by. Again, the variable switch is down, and we're starting at variable 1. And I'm going to blend this one on high for about 30 seconds or so. Okay. Beautiful green color. Really, really smooth. And that's the kind of texture and consistency that you want when you're with your smoothies. This blended for about 30 seconds. If you blend shorter, because you might be in a rush, it may look finished, but in reality, you need at least 30 seconds because the longer this blends, the more the flavor compounds are released and the sweetness is released, so the better tasting the smoothie. So make sure you always do at least 30 seconds. One other tip I want to note. When you're turning off your machine, we talked about how you turn it on. You start variable 1, go to 10, and then you select the high speed setting. When you turn off the machine, make sure you return the variable speed dial down and you walk the dial back to 1 and then shut off the machine. And that is a very important, it's actually kind of good manners because if you're sharing this blender and you keep it on the high speed and then someone else goes to turn it on, whatever's in that container is going to shoot up. So you always want to make sure that you walk the dial back down to 1 and turn off the machine. Okay, now I want to show you a very simple, basic fruit smoothie. In fact, this is my absolute favorite. It's bright red in color, and it's so incredibly sweet. All it is some grapes and some frozen strawberries and a little bit of ice. Now, this recipe works so well because even if your strawberries aren't in season, and sometimes when you buy them frozen, you don't always know what you're going to get, the grapes always make it really sweet. Which brings me to another point. When you're making any smoothie, if you make it like that green smoothie we made earlier, and you don't like it, if it's not sweet enough, you don't think the children will eat it, or it's just not right, there's a few ways you can actually fix it without having to dump it all out. One is to add more grapes, because grapes always add that sweet, intense flavor. Make sure that they're green grapes, because red grapes will make it brown. Fresh pineapple or frozen pineapple will also sweeten it really nicely, as well as a half a banana, a ripe banana. So adding a little bit of those kinds of ingredients will completely transform your smoothie and make it a lot sweeter, and I guarantee the kids will love it. So we're going to blend this one the exact same way on high speed for about 30 seconds, and then I'm going to show you some other things after that that's kind of neat. Okay. Okay, now this is just, like I said, a basic fruit smoothie, and it's really sweet. Kids will love this. Now, I'm going to call this build a smoothie. So if you have a nice base smoothie like this, you can add to it and create a breakfast smoothie. Now, normally, once you get your recipe set, you don't have to do it in 2 parts like I'm doing right now. You put all the ingredients in at the same time. But this is a good way to actually build a smoothie that you think the kids will like. So we have a half a banana added, and I'm going to add a half cup of oatmeal. And we're going to go ahead and blend this. And you can also add some more strawberries if you'd like to make it a little richer red color. But this is a wonderful way to get a very high fiber, hearty breakfast smoothie in for the morning. I just added regular rolled oats, nothing fancy. And the Vitamix processes this so smoothly that you don't taste any of that grittiness. You just have a very hearty breakfast smoothie for the children to enjoy and start their day with. I want to show you how smooth this actually is. And this recipe, there's no dairy in it. You could, of course, add, along with your banana and oatmeal, you could also add yogurt, or you could add soy milk for your vegan children, but I chose just to do a non-dairy version just for the video. And as you can see, beautiful. All right, next I want to show you 2 different dips. And dips are great vehicles for fruit or vegetables to be dipped into. Kids love to play with their food, and what better way to do that than with a dip? This is a citrus dip, and I'm using Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt, which which is my favorite. Greek yogurt has a lot of protein. It's very filling, and I think that's a great item to start any child with in the morning. If you can't use dairy, I know there's plain soy yogurts that you can use, because this is an unsweetened version that I'm using right today. You can add a little bit of lime and orange, and even adding the peel in. And the peel gives a really intense flavor, which of course any typical blender probably wouldn't be able to process through an actual lime or orange peel, but the Vitamix can do that. And we have some honey. And you can really probably use any sort of sweetener you'd like, but honey gives a nice kind of mellow sweetness to it. All right, and we're gonna blend this about 15 seconds on high speed. I gotta make sure that lid's clicking on, and there it goes. Again, the new containers are a little bit harder to get to work. Okay, here we go. That's it, you're done. And this is a wonderful dip, high protein dip to use with strawberries or pineapple, as you can see. Really, really smooth, with little tiny flecks of the citrus peel in there, and a wonderful flavor. The kids will love dipping their fruit into this. All right, the next dip I'm going to do is a hummus, and this is a roasted red pepper hummus, really full of flavor. Again, the machine processes thick mixtures really well, but you really should learn how to load the container correctly to do this even more efficiently. And so we have some lemon juice, some chickpeas, roasted red peppers, and water. I have the leftover water here, and some garlic and some salt. So we're going to go ahead and put the lemon juice in first. And these chickpeas are 2 cans. They've been drained. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. And the roasted red peppers. Now this is going to be very, very thick. Definitely going to need your tamper. I'm going to put a little bit of liquid there. And I'm reserving the liquid that was in the jar in case I need to thin it out as it's processing. I have a raw clove of garlic. And I'm just going to add a little bit of salt. And you can salt it when you're done if you think it needs a little bit more. Now strong flavors like garlic, ground black pepper, onion, anything like that, you really want to start with the least amount possible, because the blades are moving so fast and it cuts the ingredient to such a minute level that the flavor just explodes. So you want to make sure that you start with the smallest amount of the stronger spices when you do a recipe. Okay, so here we go. Definitely going to need our tamper. Okay, in about a minute, we have a really creamy red pepper hummus dip. If you look at that color, it's beautiful, nice and vibrant. And this is just one of many things you can do with hummus. We have hummus recipes that have Italian spices in them. They've got real spicy ingredients in them, so you can really have fun and make any sort of hummus that you like, that you think the kids will enjoy. One more technique I'd like to show you is something similar to a food processor. We call it chopping. It's a dry chop. And I'm going to go ahead and chop some carrots and some onions. And it's really a kind of a neat thing to show everybody. I'm going to select a variable speed of about 4. I'm going to turn the machine on. Make sure, again, your variable speed is selected. That might be a little fast. I'm going to bring it down to 3. And the beauty of this variable dial is you can start slower and then increase it to increase the fineness of your chop. I'm going to go ahead and drop in some onion. I'm going to increase it a little bit to get a little finer. And that's it. You've got chopped onion that you can use for omelets or anything that you're going to need a chopped vegetable for. I'm going to put this back on. I'm going to go ahead and put the carrots in as well. And these are cut into big pieces, so I'm going to grab a few. I'm going to go ahead and turn this on again. Drop them in one at a time. And that's it. You've got chopped carrots and chopped onions. How convenient. All right, one of the last things I want to show you is how to properly clean your blender after you're finished. Now, it cleans up very simply, but it's a good idea after every batch of blending that you're doing to give it a good wash. Well, what we have here is just about 3.5 cups of water, literally 1 drop of soap, dish soap, and you're going to blend this on high speed for about 15-20 seconds. And this should get off a lot of the residue that's left in the container from blending. And after this, you simply rinse it out and let it air dry. Now, there may be a time when you're doing something thick like that hummus where you might need to get a brush in there or a sponge, and that's fine as well. Just use a little bit of soap, get it down in there. If you're using something without a handle, just be very careful that you don't cut your fingers. Now that you know the right way to use your blender, and we've discovered some really fun things to make in it, I want to make sure that you know the book that comes with your machine has a lot of recipes in it as well, but feel free to explore and just play with your Vitamix and find some wonderful recipes that you think your children will love.
So thank you, Anne, for showing us these wonderful tips on how to use our Vitamix blender.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate all the wonderful things that we're going to learn from watching this video and what we can do and explore. And we sure send us your healthy recipes. Vitamix would love to hear about them. Thank you.
Thank you.